Greetings and salutations, team, my gods and goddesses. I'm here, of course, with my lovely ladies. You want to introduce yourselves?
Hi, guys. I'm Kayla, OTK or Cake. How you guys doing?
And I'm Tracy Cosette. You guys know me from numerous World Talks, my own channel, and the K-Trend.
Definitely. So today's topic, we're going to be talking about cultural appropriation in K-pop, because we all know how crazy of a thing this has been, pretty much, right?
Yeah. So before we actually get into it, why don't we have Tracy explain what cultural appropriation is?
Definitely.
Cultural appropriation can be defined as I've seen it defined, is the borrowing or adopting of a culture or aspects of a culture to basically make it your own. It's just really as simple as that. But the negative connotations with cultural appropriation are that these aspects of the culture are being used negatively or being adopted without understanding of where those things come from. So cultural appropriation of itself is actually not a bad thing, but over the time has gained a kind of negative connotation because of the exploitation of certain parts of a person's culture to basically adorn your own. So.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And, you know, we all have examples of cultural appropriation, especially in K-pop. We all have our own examples in our own country.
Yes.
We've always said it before. There's, you know, shade everywhere. Iggy Azalea has been infamous for cultural appropriation. Her black scent, as a lot of as people, as other, you know, female rappers have called her out on it. But, you know, in K-pop, you know, there's examples as we've seen with blackface, which was huge. You know, it just got.
Just K-pop, it's also Korean media.
Korean media in general as well.
The Korean media. Let's not just subjugate it to being just K-pop, because it's not always K-pop. It is in the Korean media.
It's all in the Korean media. I'm just saying for the context for this video, like in K-pop, K-popular culture, you know, it's around. You know, blackface was one of the biggest things. They just abolished blackface on media, for South Korean media last year.
That was mid. It just feels like it just happened last month.
Mid last year, around July-ish. That's when I saw an article say, okay, they're abandoning blackface finally. You know, after being found offensive for like ever. You know,
they finally caught up.
As always, it takes a while.
It does take a while, but I think what we also need to understand as fans of this media is that the lifestyle that we live here isn't the lifestyle that they live there. So being that, it's not, they don't know, it is an ignorance, they don't understand, because they, in all honesty, we can walk out of our homes and see people that look like us on a daily. Whereas now in Korea, you're only starting to see that, but the majority of the faces that you see in Korea are faces that look like you. So what may be offensive to us is the fact that, you know, they may not understand, and to them it doesn't seem offensive. It's not excusing it, but we need to understand that there is an ignorance there and a great lack of knowledge. It's not like they had to deal with, you know, our people's struggle, our community struggle in the last many hundreds of years here in the United States. They didn't have that there. You know, if anything, what they had was fighting against, you know, Japanese or even Chinese culture and invasions and stuff like that. So
their struggle is different.
Their struggle is different, borderline, a lot of similarities, but for the blackface thing, it's always been offensive here. Whereas for them, it's like, you know, they don't understand why it's offensive, how it can be offensive to us. So, yeah, it's just, I'm happy that it's been abolished, that they've stopped that. But, you know, when you had people saying, I don't understand, because they don't understand. They don't get why it's offensive, because, like I said, they don't have people that look like us to explain to them, this is why it's offensive and this is why it's not okay. So I'm happy that now it's starting to reach them and everyone's, like, getting an understanding for it.
You know, diving into another topic, more, I guess you could say more, something that's more within the K-pop culture, aegyo. You know, the cutie concepts. I read an article from Soul Beats talking about aegyo hip hop. How does that really go together? You would think, you know. For a prime example where this person targeted was one of your favorite groups, Girls' Generation, and their song I Got a Boy. You know, having the bandana, having these urban hip hop styles. Do you consider that cultural appropriation, or do you think people have some misconceptions when it comes to cultural appropriation? Because, you know, you as a hip hop fan, right? You know, when you see people who wear bandanas, you know, BAP has worn, you know, when you see them take these styles itself, but don't know exactly, you know, do you think there are misconceptions a lot of K-pop fans have when it comes to cultural appropriation, that we're too fast to put the label on, or do you think that everything?
I agree. I agree with that.
For I Got a Boy, I thought that I didn't see any cultural appropriation. I just thought that they were doing an urban look and they were being
street style.
You know, it's like street style, which you know, street styles adopted from hip hop. But I feel like for them, they took something, they completely made it their own, which is like, I would never touch that or say that's disrespectful, because I honestly saw it as we're gonna take an urban style, we're gonna make it our own, and that's cool. Like, and I like I Got a Boy. But when you look at other groups where it's like a totally like complete and total hip hop concept, and it's a hip hop beat, and they're acting like they're about that life, and they're like destroying property, and they're setting stuff on fire, or they're like in a bathtub filled with cookies, and they look like cholos or whatever, or they have like, you know, sneakers hung up on lines, and it's like, do you really know what that means? And that's when you look deeper into it. But I think also it comes into the fact that you brought up like BAP, you go into a group like that, like some of their members actually know, like they actually look at, you know, Black culture, look at hip hop, and they not only hip hop, but the history of African Americans in this country, the history of like what they're inspired by. So I feel like it depends on the group. You can't just see something and label it. I think we take cultural appropriation and we just slap that name on anything without really understanding what it is, and judging people without even knowing who they are. Because like Young used to get a lot of flack for a lot of things he used to say, but people don't know, like he says 2 to 3 times a year he reads John Howard Griffin's Black Like Me. It's a book about a guy who took medication to basically turn himself to a Black man to go into the South and like experience what racism is. He reads books about Che. He actually like is about hip hop, but people that don't follow him don't know that. So when they see him rapping, they see him doing something, they're like, oh, it's cultural appropriation. So I think people need to like take a step back and really realize, you know, what exactly it is. You know,
there is a line there. Like, I agree with everyone knows I'm a big Girls' Generation fan. When I Got a Boy came out, I didn't see anything like a cultural appropriation style. I saw it as a street style. This is street style. It's not like, and honestly, it's not like they were wearing Blood and Crip colors or Latin King colors, you know. It's not like they were culture appropriating. It's legit just, you know, sneakers, and
it was,
you know,
cute. They made it their own. They made it their own, and that's what you should do. Like, and there's an audience for that. As long as you're not taking something and exploiting it, making it offensive, or making it problematic. There was nothing problematic.
Let's say like this. There's I Got a Boy, and then there's something like Zico Tough Cookie. Or other concepts like I Got a Boy that do adapt that street style but aren't borderlining on being offensive. Whereas, you know, Tough Cookie is offensive. In my opinion, that is cultural appropriation right there. That is, you know, like she said, tying sneakers on lines, and, you know.
That was CL's video.
I wanted to mention CL's baddest female, but I know a lot of people will go, well, you're just a sew-on and you're fighting against a blackjack, and no, because you're fighting against 21. I love both groups. I do like Girls' Generation more than I like 21, but I personally don't pit them against each other. That's not my thing. But as a cultural appropriation standpoint, I'm very much vocal about CL's look in that video, and
all of their look.
The entire video.
And those are my faves. Like, GD's my faves. Taylor's my fave. GD was well, he didn't look like he looked like he was trying to pimp it out with no pants on. That was just like a little ridiculous.
That
had this question mark, this like jumpsuit, and it had like the bandana pattern, and like they all look like cholos, and they had the you know, the cars, like very Snoop Dogg, like. It was just very, like, you guys don't know what that's about. It was a little problematic. And it's like, even hip-hop here, like, we haven't seen that in a long time. Like, I don't even think that's really in videos often.
No, that's more so late 80s, early 90s.
90s
kind of
like,
mixing to the
even late 90s with Snoop Dogg. But, like, that's not even, it was kind of like, where'd you guys get that from? Did you guys see a movie about life in California, about Bloods and Crips? Like, did you guys, like, look at Latin Kings, or, like, look at, like, well, Latin Kings is more East Coast,
Yeah.
right? But you know what I mean. Like, it's like, where'd you guys get that from? So with that, it was kind of like it goes over.
Yeah,
the line.
that right there, I felt was very culture appropriating. Whereas I know you said Sonamu just came out with like a cute aegyo hip hop.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the video, so I can't really judge
the
that.
video hasn't come out. They just had a stage.
Yeah.
And you know, even when I looked at Sonamu's first concept itself, you know, I it's one of those songs that grew on me. I saw their stage, and you know, I'm growing more on hip hop, but I never even thought of aegyo hip hop being an actual thing until I read the Soul Beats article.
I personally think when they say cute hip hop, I kind of think like Kids Bop. Like that whole it's safer for a younger audience to listen to, but it's also still very teenage adult where we can watch it and still feel it's like a cool thing. But I don't have a younger sister, but if I do have a younger sister, but if I had a 12-year-old sister, I'd feel comfortable with her listening to it and emulating it, and I wouldn't feel like, you know, she's stepping out of line or something like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's kind of what I felt when I saw, you know, the video by some, like, not the video, just the dance performance itself. You know, they had urban clothing, but it was a cutesy song, but they had the tough look to them as well. Yeah. You know, it's that combination of saying, okay, I can be super cute, but I can also be cute, tough as well.
Look at Lolitas. Yeah. Lolitas can be really tough looking, especially what the dark Lolitas and the lovely Lolitas. Yeah. Like the dark, those bitches look tough, but they're still really cute. There's nothing wrong with mixing both styles to the point where you're not being offensive. Yeah. You know,
I bring up BTS often. Like BTS, they're called a hip hop K-pop group, more hip hop than K-pop a lot of the times. And I feel like with them, like their first video, I kind of was like, well, this is a lot. Like y'all doing a whole bunch. Like this is too much. But then as their career progressed, they started to put out more stuff. They were making hip hop their own. They were putting messages in their music about the school system, about not wanting to be pressured by certain, you know, like, you know, expectations, you know, that society puts on them, their parents put on them, things like that. And like as they progressed, they grew more into themselves, and they're like making songs like Hip Hop Lover, where they're literally paying homage to hip hop, and they're like, listen, like this is what we do, this is what hip hop did for me, this is why I love hip hop, tracing the roots, like going from the top to the bottom, you know, and it's a really inspiring song. But then when people that don't know them look at them and say that's cultural appropriation. Yeah. And I would say I don't think that is, because if you look at BTS, they went to LA, they attempted to get real education and really tried to understand.
I was real afraid for that show, because
I was like, afraid
the idea of it just seemed like cultural appropriation all over the place.
And even the first episode when they had the guys like kind of like kidnapped or roughed them up, I'm like, what are y'all perpetuating here? But I think even after that, like just seeing all of them be so humble and try to understand, and like not only learn people from hip hop, but learn from the lady that did what's the movie? Come on.
Which one?
The movie with Whoopi Goldberg. Come on.
Sister Act.
Sister Act.
Oh, I was gonna say that.
I had like a brain fart. I had a brain fart.
Sorry.
But they learned under the woman who did the music for that, and like they really were trying to invest and really trying to understand. If you have that type of approach to music and you're like, listen, I'm really inspired by this and I want to make this my own and I really want to know, then that's commendable. You can see, like, real recognize real. Yeah. And when you watch something, you're like, they're not about it. You can tell when they're not about it.
You smell the fake.
You can feel it. Yeah. Like, when I see groups like BTS and I see their performances and I see their videos, I'm like, this is what they're about. This is what they want to do. You know?
Like, when 21 first started, that's a fierce street style. 21 to me has always been about a fierce street style. Where when watching 21, I never felt like they were like they're being tryhards. See, on the other hand, sometimes that's a different story. But you know, if you want to go for a fierce style, like 21 has always been that street style. You know, Girls' Generation just looks so different on Girls' Generation because I Got a Boy was the first time they actually did something like that. And then stuff like that. How do you feel about it?
You know, it's the same way as, like, I'm agreeing with you guys. You know, opening up, a lot of people have, I want to say a lot of people have these violent misconceptions of cultural appropriation. There's like even a topic that we're gonna get into today after this video, Itjima, with, you know, Keith Abe, Occasion, and the whole thing with versus OG Mako. You know, that whole video, there was a lot of people was like, well, I don't know if this is cultural appropriation or not, and then the receipts come out afterwards, and then people are like, Well, and then
I'm one of those people who were like kind of like, I don't know them, rooted for them, taking up for them.
Yeah.
But then you hear about
the dirty laundry comes out.
I think that happened to all three of us. Because like, when you tag, we'll talk about it later.
Yeah, we'll talk about it later. But just to give another example, like when G.E. Dragon had Coupe d'Etat come out, and he was wearing just a regular black mask, not even black face. People were just like, oh my God, the world is ending. And YG really had to step up and say, listen, guys,
this is not,
chill.
Can I speak into that really quickly? I think I'm going to go back to this where it's like not everything you see is like racism. I think we do here in America, like African Americans, we get a bad rap. Like we were just dealing with Zendaya and her hair, and this Juliana Rancic had to issue an apology. Like we go through this every day. Like, literally, when the Ichima thing came out, I was like, literally yesterday we were just like, it's fuckery every day when it comes to race, you know. But the thing is, not everything you see or somebody doing something is going to be against us. We can't always be on the defensive and be ready to like.
We have to have
fight.
We have to have an open mind.
An open mind.
Actually look
exactly.
into
And look into it, you know, and like see that G Dragon's video was literally like that video is a masterpiece. Like it's art. Like I consider that video art, you know, and it's just like we really need to just back up and really use our minds to stop like speaking and thinking in anger. Sometimes it's really clear that people are being disrespectful.
Yeah, sometimes you automatically see it. But when a lot of times, like it does seem to me, especially in the community, in the K-pop community, you know, people do jump at it really quickly
without even.
Without
and then
really
if you're African American or Afro Latina or anything, and you think and you say, I don't think this is racism, then we're automatically taken up from, or we're Uncle Tom's, or we're, and that's not even that. It's that. It's receipts. It's really like thinking without being defensive all the time. And I think that's the issue. We need to start like
I agree.
backing up and really thinking about things.
Just the
go ahead.
Go ahead. I was gonna say just to build off of that, I guess one of the final topics, where do we place the blame on? Like, and mainly in K-pop with these music videos, do we blame the artists, or do we blame the people behind the artist itself? Especially in K-pop, because a lot of them don't get to choose the concepts that they do. Like for,
it's honestly, it's a mix. We like, if you really are into the K entertainment, you kind of, we see, you kind of see what it is. You know that these companies legit are calling the shots. And I like to throw out like Tiara as a really good example, because they've been going on record saying, you know, how they fear their company more than they fear their parents. How, you know, you even saw it in the Nine Muses documentary. You know, you want, an artist may want a certain thing certain ways, but, you know, it's just so constricted. You know, how you may have an artist that's like, you know, hey, I don't think this is okay.
And then
like the Tiara N4 thing, when they, you know, came here and performed with Chris Brown, it's like that was not okay. You can tell that was completely you can tell that was completely a company idea. You know,
and they were disrespected. And it was just
so. It's a two-way street, really. You can have your artist say, I don't want to do this, I'm not comfortable with this, but at the end of the day, it's the management's and the company's final choice.
Because they're the one putting money in your pocket.
This is the problem, and this is why, like, I'm glad because you did a build-up. It's like artist and company, but I think it also, going past company, I think it's mindset. It's this mindset that is in South Korea that, and I'm not saying everyone, make sure we don't say everyone so people don't try to come for us, but there's a mindset, you know, there's a mindset that, you know, about hip-hop or about black people, or even like if you, it shows the deeper layers and levels of misunderstanding that South Korea has about other cultures in general. Like, let's not even talk about ours. Like, there's a lack of understanding and knowledge of people. It's an ignorance, So it's like these companies, they take and they glean because they think, oh, this looks cool, this will look nice in this video, without really understanding the context behind it. And I think I say this all the time. I feel like a broken record, because it's like hip hop has a social context to it. Like, a lot of the rap today is not following that trajectory. Like, we will admit that. But the thing is, it's that hip hop, the root of it, it has an identity. It has a history behind it. And you can't erase that away from it, you know? So when you take certain aspects without understanding why we do it, whether it comes from ignorance or pain or just wanting to have fun, it's still ours. So, and it's not their place to judge it at all, you know?
We can also take, like, this conversation and flip it to the Koreaboo culture that has started as a cultural appropriation.
Or now the Blackaboo.
Yeah, because it's not.
Shout out to Zakaya. She.
Yeah,
Zakaya. So that's her word.
It really, it goes both ways.
Yeah.
There is cultural appropriation and ignorance coming from that side, and there is a cultural appropriation and ignorance coming from the fandom community.
That are fans of Korea, but they're fans of. They're fans, and they we were talking about this in our group, Real K-pop fans. Shout out to Real K-pop fans on Facebook. We were talking about people that just like K-pop and they like it for that, and they don't care about the country, they don't care about Korea's history. Yeah. They don't care about anything. They just like, I want to buy BB cream that's 5 shades lighter than me, so I can be light. I want to buy circle lenses so my eyes can look big and you look scary.
Yeah.
And it's like it drives me crazy.
I feel you guys.
It drives me crazy, you know. And it's like anytime you go to K-Town, it's like you're running down the street screaming Oppa at guys that you don't even know. It's embarrassing. It's like, have some respect for yourself.
Using the Korean words you pick up from a drama or from a song here and there. It's like,
Songrang hey, and people look at you like
Yeah, or like calling me an ummi because I'm older than you. I'm like, girl, just call me by my name.
Yeah,
you don't have to
like
call
we're
me
not.
that. Yeah, we're not in Korea.
Yeah,
like
it does go both
ways.
ways.
It gets really crazy. And just to conclude this talk, you know, just so people that know, it's not only hip hop culture.
No.
You know, just so that they know, you know, because idols have been called out, especially those like using religion as props in their song, especially a part of the Islamic religion.
Yeah,
you've seen how, what is it, a CL song, local song. Even on one of What's Up stages, NBC made a mistake in doing that. You know, cultural appropriation it goes for any culture. You know, it could be, especially with CL's, you know, the cholo look that what happened in Baddest Female. Anything is liable to get taken and borrowed and be used incorrectly as a misrepresentation. So I guess the main thing for this is that, you know, have the receipts before, you know, you judge cultural appropriation. Have the receipts before you're, you know, quick to say, okay, this is cultural appropriation. Always look at it from, I guess you could say, from multiple sides. You know,
just have an open mindset. You know?
Be respectful.
Yeah, be
if you respect the culture, it'll show. If you're really respecting the culture and you're really trying to understand this culture, be inspired by it the right way, it'll show. If you're being disrespectful, it will show. That goes for everything. Like when Katy Perry did the whole Japanese look, or she did the Egyptian look, it'll show.
It'll show, definitely. But with that said, let us know your thoughts in the comment section below for this topic on cultural appropriation. We will be revisiting it, and we will be reading your comments. Let's have an open discussion, guys. Give this video a like, share it on Facebook, Tumblr, Twitter, wherever you want to share it at, and let's get the word out. You know, let's start talking more about cultural appropriation in K-pop. And with that said, we'll catch you guys for the next video. You know what? Nobody can be God, but everybody has the potential to be God-like.
They wearing a monkey cap. She trying to play me in ball.
She ain't playing ball right now, though.
I mean, she can. I'm just saying. Y'all can play ball.
Playing ball.